The workshop smelled of grease and recycled air, a familiar perfume that Harry had grown to associate with home. His small repair shop sat in the lower districts of New Karachi Station, wedged between a noodle vendor and a defunct oxygen recycler. The sign above his door flickered intermittently. Harry's Repairs, all species welcome. Most days, Harry barely scraped by. The upper districts had their fancy automated repair bays and certified technicians. Down here, in the shadows of the station's industrial spine, people came to Harry because he was cheap, reliable, and didn't ask questions. He was elbow-deep in a Centaurian plasma drive when the bell above his door chimed. Harry glanced up, wiping sweat from his forehead with an oil-stained rag. The girl who entered was unlike any customer he'd seen before. Her skin shimmered with an iridescent quality that marked her as Zetherian, one of the galaxy's most advanced species. Her eyes held that peculiar triple pupil configuration that could see across 7 different light spectrums. She wore simple clothes, but even Harry could tell the fabric was woven with nanothreads worth more than his entire shop. What caught his attention, however, was what she was pushing: a bicycle. An actual human-made bicycle with 2 wheels, a chain, and pedals. "Excuse me," she said in perfect Urdu, her translator chip rendering the words with a slight melodic quality. "Can you fix this?" Harry stood, joints cracking. At 32, he sometimes felt ancient. A bicycle? "Where did you get that?" "I found it in a salvage yard," Jasmine said, running her elongated fingers along the handlebars. "Your people's museum said these were how early humans transported themselves. I wanted to experience it, but the chain broke." Harry approached the bicycle, a smile tugging at his lips. It was a vintage model, probably from Earth before the migration wars. The frame was rusted but solid, the kind of craftsmanship they didn't bother with anymore. "This is beautiful," he said softly. "Real steel. Real rubber tires. They don't make these anymore. Can you repair it?" Jasmine asked, hope lighting her alien features. Harry examined the chain. One link had snapped clean through. He had the parts, he kept everything, but replacing it would take time. Time he should be spending on paying customers. He looked at Jasmine again. There was something in her expression, a genuine fascination that reminded him why he'd become a mechanic in the first place. Not for money or status, but for the simple joy of making broken things work again. "Yeah, I can fix it," Harry said. "Give me an hour. How much will it cost?" Harry glanced at his empty appointment book, at the bills stacked on his desk, at the eviction notice he'd tucked under his keyboard. Then he looked back at the bicycle, at this alien girl who'd gone to a salvage yard just to experience a piece of human history. "Nothing," he said. "Consider it a cultural exchange." Jasmine's 3 pupils dilated in surprise.
"Nothing?"
"But surely your time has value." "Just let me work," Harry interrupted gently. "I don't get to see pieces of home very often." As Harry worked, Jasmine watched with intense curiosity. She asked questions, hundreds of them. How did the gears work? Why did humans prefer mechanical systems over anti-gravity? What was Earth like before the evacuation? Harry answered between adjustments, losing himself in memories and explanations. He told her about Earth's blue skies, about riding his own bicycle through Pakistani streets before the climate collapse, about his grandfather's repair shop where he'd learned to fix anything with moving parts. "Your species is remarkable," Jasmine said quietly. "The Zetherian Council says humans are primitive, too attached to obsolete technology, too sentimental. But this," she gestured at the bicycle, "this is beautiful, simple but perfect." Harry tightened the final bolt. "We might not have your advanced tech, but we understand something important. Not everything needs to be complicated to work." He tested the chain, spun the wheels, and stepped back. "Good as new. Better, actually." Jasmine climbed onto the bicycle, her alien physiology adapting naturally to the human design. She wobbled at first, then found her balance. Her laughter echoed through the small shop, a sound like crystalline bells. "This is incredible," she exclaimed, circling the workshop. "The physics, the balance, the direct connection between effort and motion, it's pure." Harry couldn't help but grin. "Now you understand why we loved them." Jasmine dismounted, her expression suddenly serious. "Harry, what you've shown me today, it's valuable. More valuable than you know. The Zytherian Science Collective is studying human innovation, trying to understand why your species succeeds where logic says you should fail." She pulled out a data pad from her bag. I'm not just a curious tourist. I'm a xenoanthropologist. My research focuses on human adaptability and creative problem solving. Today, you demonstrated exactly what I've been trying to prove, that humanity's strength isn't in matching our technology, but in your unique approach to challenges. Harry shifted uncomfortably. I just fixed a bicycle. No, Jasmine said firmly. You saw something broken and made it work with limited resources and infinite creativity. You refused payment because the act itself had value. These are human traits the galaxy is only beginning to appreciate. She handed him the datapad. This is a research grant application for my project. I need a human consultant, someone who understands both human engineering and the cultural context behind it. The position pays 50,000 credits annually, includes housing in the upper districts and full research privileges. Harry stared at the screen, his hands trembling. 50,000 credits. That was more than he'd made in the last 5 years combined. Why me? He whispered. Because you fixed a bicycle for free, Jasmine said simply. Because you saw value where others saw junk. Because you represent everything I'm trying to show the galaxy about humanity. 3 months later, Harry stood in a university lecture hall on Zetheria Prime, explaining to a room full of alien scientists how a simple wrench could solve problems their quantum computers couldn't. Jasmine stood beside him, translating not just his words but his philosophy. The poor mechanic from New Karachi Station had become the galaxy's leading expert on human ingenuity. All because he'd fixed a bicycle for free. And every morning before his lectures, Harry would ride that same bicycle through the halls of the university, a rolling reminder that sometimes the simplest human gesture could change everything. The galaxy was learning what Earth had always known. Humanity's greatest technology was humanity itself.